If I take a little quark and I magnify it, conventional idea says there's nothing inside, but string theory says I'll find a little tiny filament, a little filament of energy, a little string-like filament. And just like the string on a violin, I pluck it and it vibrates, creates a little musical note that I can hear. The little strings in string theory, when they vibrate, they don't produce musical notes, they produce the particles themselves. So a quark is nothing but a string vibrating in one pattern. An electron is nothing but a string vibrating in a different pattern. A neutrino, nothing but a string vibrating in a different pattern still. String theory, string theory, string theory, string theory.
It all started in the 1950s, German laboratory, S-matrix, the newest nifty theory. Added to the series, Heisenberg, but not the one from TV Guide articles, discovered protons and neutrons, were all extended relativistic particles, proposing the notion that a space-time point broke down in nuclear scales. Listen to the details, I'm not talking about arsenals. Heisenberg proposed to use unitarity in all situations conceivable, from the sum of what the squares equal. His proposal was ignored 2 years after, 1954. Gell-Mann recognized dispersion relations, allow notion of casualty formulation. More added to the theory, the Japanese Shoichi proposed particles could be observed in bound states of 3, which was changed by Gell-Mann and Zweig to be the quark model in the 1960s. In 1959, Tullio Regge from Italy discovered bound states in quantum theory could be organized into families known as Regge trajectories. In 1968, we finally see S-matrix be preceded in string theory. Regge trajectories were followed by the dual resonance model, which focused around hadronic particles discovered by Veneziano. The model was taken by physicists to use in their own experiments. In 1973, it was superseded by quantum chromodynamics. Quantum chromodynamics. Quantum chromodynamics.
String theory, string theory, string theory.
Quantum chromodynamics. Quantum chromodynamics. Quantum chromodynamics. Quantum chromodynamics.
Nothing but a dancing, vibrating cosmic symphony of strings. That's the basic idea of string theory.
The particle said to vibrate akin to violin strings like Paganini is where the theory got his name, I'm thinking. It said they act as springs inside of quarks, which are the smallest things. Particle physics intrinsic to our existence, searching for a unified theory everything fits in. Nowadays it's used as a tool for scientific expansion. It isn't taken as a literal explanation. They say the demonstrations are irreplicable. It isn't experimentally checkable. The observable reality is 3-dimensional. And they say 11 dimensions isn't intellectually intelligible. But I believe in the metaphysical. The creation of string theory was an attempt to merge quantum mechanics with general relativity, but I'm only reciting what was said by people who were smarter than me. I'd like to take you through the rest of the history, but for now we stop in 1973. Because there's so much to cover, the song would last infinitely. Around 2003, the theory started to fizzle out due to doubt in the scientific community, based around what else it could predict eventually. Looking for how it can be applied to cosmology, but 11 dimensions doesn't really seem that odd to me.
Sooner or later, I begin to see molecules come into view. But molecules are not the end of the story, because the molecules, I can enlarge them. And if I make them big enough deep inside, I begin to see atoms. Atoms are not the end of the story too, because we have electrons zooming around the nucleus, deep inside, mostly empty space in the atom, but deep inside, we see the nucleus. If I grab that and magnify it, I see that the nucleus is itself made of particles, neutrons and protons. And if I grab one of the neutrons and magnify it, I find yet further particles, little tiny quarks inside. Now that is where the conventional ideas stop. String theory comes along and suggests that inside these particles there is something else. So if I take a little quark and then magnify it,